Welcome to the Legacymakers podcast. At Legacymakers, we believe that family is the foundation of society, and if you can change your family, you will change the world. We're on a mission to see a movement of purpose and unity coming to life in families across the nation. And this podcast is dedicated to bringing you helpful, inspiring, and relevant, encouraging insight to your life and family every month that you can immediately take home and use to build a legacy you're proud of. If today's episode is helpful or encouraging in any way, would you make sure just to subscribe and rate and review this podcast so that we can get this message out to as many families as possible? Thank you so much and enjoy the show. All right. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for everyone who's tuning in right now, listening from your car, from your house, on your phone, wherever you're at. We are just so excited and so thankful to have you with us today. And we are coming back from maybe a couple months hiatus, but we've got kind of a new format, a new focus that we're really hoping to hit this year with the Legacymakers podcast. And so, we are just super thankful and super excited for all that is in store and just everything that God's going to do in this podcast and even today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce, we've got a special guest with us today. And just so everybody knows, I'm taking a risk having him here. This is a little dangerous for me. But it's I think it'll be really valuable and really helpful for anybody who's listening, whether you're a dad or a mom or just, a non-parent person. But today I have a near and dear friend of mine with us, and he is a mentor figure in my life and really has been just an incredible guide and a shepherd for just so much of personal growth in my life, much of which we might even talk about today, hopefully not. But it has been such an incredible gift to have him in my life, and so hopefully we'll be able to just kind of divest some of the wisdom and insight that we've learned over the past couple of years. But his name is Robert Kalatschan, and he has been SoCal native for many, many years. He is bilingual, right? You know 2 languages? Yeah. Multiracial, right? Armenian and Ukrainian, right? Yeah. And he has 2 beautiful children, now adult children who are, off pursuing their own ventures, and just incredible people themselves. And he runs a really large and impactful organization in Vietnam, and I think moving into some other areas as well. Cambodia. Yeah, and so I'll kind of let him share a little bit about that. But he has just a high level of respect in the area of nonprofits and even with organizations around the country and the world. And so he has been such a gift to Legacymakers and to my life. And so I am just so honored to have him here today to share. And I'm excited for really what we're going to talk about. But Robert, if there's anything that you have to add, that I didn't mention, I'd love just for you to introduce yourself if you can.
Yeah, Ben, it's great to be here. You and I joke a lot, and I do give you a hard time. So I'm going, okay, stay serious, Robert. I am honored. I'm blessed to know you. What you're doing, working to build families, is probably one of the most crucial things that I see in the world, not just in Southern California. So I'm honored and blessed to have you here, and thank you for taking a risk with me.
I know. It's a little scary. We'll see what happens.
For good reason, though.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what else? Anything else to share? That you might have to clarify on what you do, or
in 2002, 2001, I adopted my daughter from Vietnam. I grew up in the late 60s and 70s, and Vietnam was not a destination place. I figured my walk, my calling in God was in the local city, local church, so to speak, with guys walking through guy issues. And God had a different idea. And when I went to Vietnam, I saw a need that I was plagued with when I came home. And I looked at my wife one day after coming back from a men's conference and said, honey, I think we're supposed to do something there. Wow. And she looked at me, and you know, she was too sweet before she passed. And she looked at me and said, duh. That's not the word she used, but that's how I interpret it. And we started the organization in 2002, and it's been over 20 years working in Vietnam and Cambodia, a little bit in Laos. Wow. And God has given us incredible favor because we stepped out and took a chance. Wow. One of the things that's, and I got to share this recently with, we have kids' homes and, you know, extensive kids' homes and anti-trafficking and wheelchairs and medical programs and tuition, unwed mother programs. Wow. And all those things. And that's a lot. One of the things that's always kind of bothered me is the kids in our homes call me Father Robert.
Wait, you said it bothers you?
It bothers me. Because being a father means that there's a level of accountability and responsibility that a father, a real man, should have. Wow. Being a male is a matter of birth. Being a man is a matter of choice. Wow. And most of us guys grow up having no idea what a real man is. I mean, truth be told, I know I'm getting way off the subject here. Good. But the truth be told is most guys, when they get married, are looking for a mother. Someone to take care of them.
Ouch.
Okay, yeah. Whoa. You know, because we have no idea. Or else we try and be a lid. Okay, a lid over the wife. And that don't work. God wants us to be a covering over our families and our homes.
So that level,
over wives.
There was like a level of accountability you felt when,
I mean, you know, when these kids are calling me father, it's like, because many of them are orphans or have never had a real father in their lives. But to me, I feel a sense of responsibility. I'd rather they just be kids, okay? Because then I could move on.
I see what you're saying.
But when they get sick, when they have special needs, emotional problems, I mean, dating thing is a whole different world, okay? It's a whole different level of accountability. So in your organization with Legacy, I think it's incredible. It's not an easy challenge. That's the crisis of the United States these days, is the lack of families. Yeah. What is a real family that's under God's covering and God's anointing like?
I love that. So I hear you saying there's a lot of weight that you might feel like you carry or you should carry.
Sure.
When people when kids call you father.
Every father should.
Yeah.
You know, my spiritual father, Dr. Edwin Lewis Cole, said maturity has got nothing to do with age. It has to do with the acceptance of responsibility. As men of God, are we willing to take on the responsibility of being a father? Wow. To be the one example of what Father God is to our kids. You know, the prodigal father, that even when they screw up, we're still loving them and celebrating them. Wow. Spending time with them.
I love that. I mean, there's a lot of weight. I mean, even in that one sentence that Ed Cole had said, maturity is not, what'd you say, a matter of age?
Maturity has got nothing to do with age. It has to do with the acceptance of responsibility. I know lots of guys that are my age, 40, 50, 60 years old and over, that still don't accept responsibility. Wow. They point the finger. Isn't that what Adam did?
Yeah.
Okay, he pointed the finger at God.
Yeah, man.
Okay, rather than saying, you know what, I screwed up.
Wow.
Where was I when Eve was being tempted? Was I being a covering over her? Or was I an absentee father?
Dang.
Okay, and wasn't there to prevent her from falling into Satan's temptations. Wow. Okay, and what's he do? He blames. Today we blame work. We blame family, you know, family circumstances, my background, you know, money. It's always our wife's fault, okay? You know, or if those kids would just learn, you know, if my daughter would just learn to keep her room clean, I wouldn't have any problems, okay? But then I go into my room and I notice that there's some things that I just dropped on the floor as well.
Right.
So where's the responsibility lie? You know, kids won't
Wow.
always do what what you tell them to, but they'll do what they see you do. So does my daughter come into my room and see stuff on the floor and go, oh, that's okay.
Whew. There's such I've been kind of following the Maximize Manhood movement with Ed Cole and Paul Cole and participating in some of the books. And there is and you really just brought it out, a very hard line for the standard of what it means to be a real man. And, I mean, he says real manhood is synonymous to Christ's likeness, which is a high bar.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, you know, if that's true, that Christ likeness and manhood are synonymous, right? What did Christ do? He accepted responsibility for not only his own mistakes, nor, you know, as a father, as a man, we don't accept just responsibility for our own behaviors, but we begin to take responsibility for other behaviors. You know, are we responsible for our neighbors?
Wow.
Have we loved them? Have we been there for them?
Wow.
Have we been a friend? You know, so it's
a big deal.
Oh, it's
a high bar.
It's not an easy mark. But you know what's funny about it, Ben? Is the closer I can come. You know, I mentioned to you the other day, I said, you know, some people think I walk on water. If it seems like that way, it's only because I know where the rocks are, okay? And the water's only an inch deep. You know, I make a lot of mistakes. But, you know, it's about just following God and going, okay, what would you have me to do? What example do you want me to be? And being real. You know, and am I in community with other men and other family members? Or is it just the summit points?
Yeah.
You and I've talked a lot about that. It's one thing to come and do a summit, you know, go to a conference, or, you know, a men's breakfast or a family get together and go, yeah, it's great, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But what's it like when you get home? Are you accountable to somebody?
So good. I mean, that actually is a really good segue into kind of one of the things I wanted to start talking about. And you mentioned being a real man, just being real and authentic. You know, and it's something this is something that we actually talk about in Legacymakers a lot, and it has to do with family legacy. You know, we say a lot of times that legacy isn't just about your kids, but it starts with you. It starts with yourself, with your character, with your decisions and actions, and it starts with your thoughts. So I guess my question is, and I guess we'll get into some of the real genre later, but why would you say that the first place to start when building a family legacy you're proud of is with yourself?
Well, let me, first of all, you know, you and I have talked about this, Ben, is legacy is not what you've done in the past or doing now. It's what have you started that's going to continue on to generations. We start with ourselves. You know, we've talked about this often, and some of my mentors have always told me, Robert, you cannot give something you don't have. My best intentions, you know, Ben, I wish I could just give you $1 million right now. Okay, that's my best intentions. But if I can't do it, if I don't have it, I can't give it.
Yeah.
I can't give love unless I deal with my own broken issues, my past that I've just stuffed down.
Wow.
You know, that's why I say we got to be real. And in bed, you and I have talked about it, is so many of us have blind spots. I just did a thing. I read one of Maxwell's books on leadership, and there was a little survey, and I had my staff. I said, what do you guys think? And the thing they came up with, my weakness, is something I never saw in myself. So we need to have people in our things. What is my life like at home? Being honest with family members or other guys that are walking through it. Am I walking this thing out, or am I just talking it?
That's so good. What's been kind of some of your, you know, lessons, or, you know, maybe your story and how you've kind of come to this place of realizing that, you know, starting with your own self is such a big deal. Like, how did you learn to realize that?
Well, for me, you know, I guess it's okay if I say it on here. You know, I was involved in drugs and drug smuggling, and 1985, the courts wanted to put me in prison for the rest of my life.
Oh wow!
For under the RICO Act, and
wow.
And the funny thing is I was 30 years old then, and the funny thing is, or maybe not so funny, thank God for God's mercy, is I gave my life to Christ at 17. And I believed Jesus Christ was my Savior. And I went to churches, and I used to give tithes off my drug sales.
Wow.
Okay? But,
Yeah.
I bring all that up in that the fact that I recognized that I didn't have all the pieces to this puzzle called life. We uncover, we discover, and discard. Okay, so I have to be in the process of uncovering. Why is it that instead of spending time with a friend or my kids, I look for happiness, and many of us look for happiness in the spectacular and the supernatural, the fireworks. And if I go buy a new car, if I get a new job, a new title, get it in better shape, yada, 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 right? When the truth is, if I just spend some time with my young child rolling on the ground or joking or going through a crossword puzzle, my happiness happens. But I've started to recognize that, I'm broken. Even though I had known Christ for 13 years, I had taken the things of God and made them conform to my lifestyle versus making my lifestyle conform to Christ-likeness. Okay, and Dr. Cole's the one that said it, and I don't know if this is men and women, but forgive me, ladies, if this offends you. But I walked into a meeting with Dr. Cole, and I had gone out. I was at the Marriott in Fashion Island, and I went out to smoke a joint, and for some reason I didn't feel like smoking it. Came back in. I put it out, which is highly unusual for me, and he goes, how many of you men understand that if you're walking a fence with one leg on one side and one leg on the other and you fall down, it's going to hurt? The scripture, wow. But he said it in a way that I understood it. I had heard a double-minded man's unstable in all his ways many times.
Yeah.
But, so much of it's true in our lives today. We're still double-minded.
Wow.
But I need people that I'm in commitment to. So I saw my brokenness, and I realized that I can't give something I don't have. I can't give. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. How do you do that if you don't even love yourself, if you're not even willing to look at it? I was challenged one time. I know I'm talking way too much. But, I was challenged by somebody. They said, hey, when you get home today, go in the bathroom, lock the door, look yourself in the mirror, and look yourself in the eyes and say, I love you. See what the eyes say back to you. Yeah.
I remember you've mentioned that one.
Yeah, that wasn't a good experience for me, and it took quite a while. But I realized that how much I need to work on myself, and it continues. I joke a lot, but it's the truth. Amazon and I are best friends. When I have that void, I'll shop, I'll buy something. Yeah. Okay. And it's recognizing it and going, okay, I want to work on it. I want to uncover, discover, and listen to God on it.
Well, maybe you could give us a little bit of an example, maybe more recently, and how you've kind of overcome that, or made, what you said, like you've gotten transparent, or someone's pointed it out, and then, you've in a sense corrected it.
Well, as I said, there's things that our team in Vietnam brought up that I hadn't seen. Part of it is just staying in process.
What do you mean by staying in process?
When I say stay in process is to be a learner, not think I have the answers. I shared with a good friend the other day. I said, look, you'd wake up earlier go surfing, right? And he goes, oh, yeah. With me and some of the stuff I do, I'd wake up in the middle of the night to make bait because I love fishing. Yeah. Okay, I'd stay up all night fishing. But where's my commitment with God and learning from Him? So I do that. I journal. Dr. John Maxwell he's got a rule of 5. He goes, there's 5 things I do every day as a habit. And in that habit, a lot of times, my journaling, I'm starting to see stuff. I read books that might not be the easy to read. There's a book, Are You Really Okay? Or Mastering Winning the War in Your Mind. Seeing the tapes that I listen to, and I'm going, okay. So I want to learn about it. I want to uncover, discover. I talk to people about it. So that's the process I'm in.
So I think what I'm hearing is, as dads, as moms, as parents, legacy, and we have a legacy, right? A legacy is what we have now and what is passed for generations, but it starts with us, and part of that is staying in the process, and by that it requires having a mirror, in a sense, like someone to kind of reflect back to you, or like a community or a place.
Ben, you and I have talked about it. Is one of our pastors, Tim Selleck. He, I hope you don't mind me name dropping, but I want to give credit where it is.
Absolutely.
He said, you got to have people, friends in your life that will reflect what they see in you like a mirror. Yeah. And I need that. And this thing about legacy, I look at my kids and I see how my son treats his girlfriend. I get emotional over it. Yeah. He's a real man in her life. I shared with you the other day, he buys flowers for her every week. And I used to do that for my wife. He saw that. They won't always hear what you say or what you teach them, but they'll model what you do with them. Yeah. Since my daughter was a little girl, I dated her. We would go on dates. I would open the door for her. I would pull the chair out from her. Okay, I would treat her like a daughter of the Most High King. Side note, men, be careful when you start praying to your wives about your wives to God. Remember, that's God's daughter you're talking to. You're talking to your father-in-law in that case. So be careful, okay? But, my daughter came home recently, and I think it's okay to share this. She a guy that I thought was going to be great, was studying to be a brain surgeon and everything else. Wow. Okay, I thought, finally she found the right kind of guy, okay? Got a real job, future. And she came home weeping. I mean, just crying. And we've got a relationship that she comes to. She'll wake me up in the middle of the night if she's having a bad time. And she came to me weeping. And we sat down on the couch, and I'm listening to her. Yeah, we broke up. Not just tears. I'm talking weeping. And probably 10 minutes into the conversation, I find out she broke up with him. And I went, stop. I said, I'm a little bit confused here. You broke up with him and you're crying this way? She goes, yeah, Dad. Wow. Because he wasn't treating me the way you taught me I should be treated. Whoa. Okay, that's the role of a father. Yeah. Okay, that when they go out there, as a father, we are their heroes. Okay? My daughter came home one time. She was taking a class on psychology in school, and she goes, Dad, you know what we heard today? Is that to listen is to stop and to hear what I'm saying. And Dad, no matter what, whenever I've come home and you're doing something, you stop what you're doing and you give me your full attention. Yeah, wow. Is it easy for a guy like me? No. No. Yes. But see, one of the things in my discovery is I've learned I listen, but I don't hear. I'm usually listening to give an answer. You guys can see how much I talk, but I'm listening to get an answer. I already know what my daughter's problem is, my son's problem is. I knew what my wife's problems were. Yeah. Okay? And I'm just waiting for my turn. Wow. So learning how to hear and be present with my family is huge. It's still a challenge to me. By no means am I close to having it done.
Now, I guess that's actually interesting because as we talk about legacy and how it starts with ourselves, staying in process, having someone to reflect back, and then you had mentioned habits and kind of doing 5 things a day. That was John Maxwell's thing, but having a place where you do the same growth oriented, following God every single day. Now, I guess I'm curious in light of all of that, and you even have started to mention, your some of the traits that you're noticing in your own kids based on the things that you had, I guess, demonstrated to them when they were younger, which is extremely profound. If you think about it, just stop and think about it. For anyone who's listening, thinking about the long-term effect of, a small action that you take or that you demonstrate with your kids. And, you're noticing now your daughter has this standard in her mind of what it means to be treated and be treated by a man. And I also think that it's important to know that there is probably a negative side, right? There's a flip side. When if there's traits that you might be demonstrating, that I might be demonstrating, I can imagine that the same effect might take place, negatively. And I'm just curious, how have you kind of meandered some of those things as you've noticed them, if any? Which I doubt there's any.
No, I walk on water, Ben. Don't you understand? It's funny. I'll be vulnerable. I enjoy cigars, good cigars, and one day I get in my son's car. He's driving, and I see this cute little box, and I pick it up, and I go, "What's this?" And I open it, and it's cigars. And I looked at him. I go,
That's
"My
funny.
fault, huh?" And he goes, "Yep, your fault."
Whoa.
Okay.
Wow.
Now he's chosen not to do that.
That's too funny.
But when I do make mistakes, I admit them.
You admit
I
them.
take responsibility for my mistake, and as I do with my loved ones, and I used to do with my wife, is I'll say something similar to, "You know what? I was wrong. Not because you acted this way or you weren't ready on time. I was wrong in my reaction. I am sorry. Please forgive me."
Wow.
And with my wife or my children, "You're God's gift to me." And then add one thing. "And what can I do to make it right?"
That's good.
Okay? I mean, as men, we need to stand up and be the leaders of our homes as we lead, right?
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm sorry, this just came to mind. I don't know but
Yeah, please.
we're, and I don't know how much your audience is men and women, but women will cheer this part and men will frown at me, especially with we're coming up on an important game here. But, we're easy to quote, "Wives, submit to your husbands," right?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's good, right? Darn right it is. It's the way it should be. Okay? Mom, take care of me. No, I'm okay, sorry. But it is, but the rest of it is, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And what did Christ do for the church? He died for it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wow.
We want a legacy. Our kids need to see that we're dying for what our wives want. That means, honey, I know the Super Bowl's coming, but I really would like you to go shopping with me right now.
Wow.
Okay? That's dying to self.
Yeah, that is.
Okay? To love is to benefit another at the expense of self. Okay?
Okay, hold on. To love is to benefit
another at the expense of self.
Wow.
Okay? Lust is to benefit self at the expense of others.
Wow.
No, honey, I already made an appointment with I know it's our anniversary. I'm sorry I forgot, but I told my boss I'd be there.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
What legacy are you teaching your kids?
Wow.
What's the lesson they're learning? So back to the thing is,
so good.
is with my kids, I'll say, what can I do to make it right? I'm sorry, I was wrong. I look at my side of the street. I don't look at, dear, if you would just learn to keep your room clean, I wouldn't be angry. Okay? I am sorry for the way I acted. I'm sorry I wasn't present. I'm sorry for this. Please, and adding, please forgive me. And what that means to me is I die a little bit to my ego, to myself.
How do you? So I'm curious. It just kind of came to mind, and it has to do with, we've been talking about kind of the idea of being real. But how do you be real with your kids, and how do you get them to be real themselves? You know what I'm saying? Like how do you authentically or transparently express themselves?
Well,
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
If you figure that one out, let me know.
Yeah.
But I will venture a guess. Is instead of being judgmental, being a loving father.
Oh, What does that look like?
What's God do to us? Okay.
Oh yeah. Wow.
I mean, often, and I know I get in trouble for a lot of my thoughts, but often I think we've got this standard of what I'm supposed to be like in front of God. But when you look at the example of the prodigal father, he didn't say, hey, dude, you went and spent all the money. Dude, you were feeding pigs, you know?
Yeah.
He said, come, let's get the best lamb, okay?
Yeah.
Where's my best coat?
Wow.
Okay? That's the example of fatherhood.
Wow.
So, you know, and I think, you know, because I work in Asian cultures, and the culture is so much different.
Yeah.
And there's some in my opinion, some unhealthy parts of the culture. And I'll veer away from. But I did a training on culture. And I said the first thing, and in the families here, you know, I'm guessing most of them are families. You've got husbands and wives. The culture of each of your families is very often different than the culture you grew up in. So when you go over for Thanksgiving, are you going to tell them you're doing it the wrong way? This is how my family did it? No, you settle in and you love. So when we, you know, trying to make it a safe place. My daughter is highly opinionated. She's a Gen Zer, okay? and you don't want to get into a discussion with her about something she disagrees with.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
but just learn to, you know, you might be right. Let me think about it.
Wow.
Okay, just some disarming things and not saying, no, that's not the way it is.
Dang.
Okay, but making it a safe place.
Wow.
You know, what makes it safe for my daughter to knock on my door when I'm sleeping and say, Dad, can we talk? Okay?
That's huge.
About sensitive stuff.
Holy moly.
About boy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, about drinking.
Wow.
Okay, thank God my kids don't seem to appear to have that problem I did.
Yeah.
But, you know, make it a safe place and open communication. As far as, you know, I've shared some of my experiences. I mean, there's some stuff that I'm not going to talk about with them, okay? But some stuff they just go, I don't want to hear this, okay, Dad? But, you know, being as real as I can and appropriate.
Yeah.
Age appropriate is important, too.
Yeah.
You know, but being present, to me, that's been the key word to me. You know, I heard a guy talk about it just recently, is when we're looking forward to the next big thing, often we miss what we have today.
Yeah.
Okay, and not only can we miss what we have today, but we can lose what we have today.
Can
Okay?
lose it. Wow.
So when we're thinking about the next job, the next title, the next, you better be careful what's going on in the home.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay?
That's so good.
Because you can lose the trust of your children. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, I love this story, and it's a little bit off topic here. But, you know, there was a story of a kid, that young kid, that's standing up on his chair at the dinner table. Okay? And forgive me, I know it's not 100% PC, but it's a fictional story. And you know, the father says, sit down. Kid keeps, you know, acting out on top of the chair. Sit down, sit down. And his dad says, sit down before I knock you down. Right? The kid sits down, and he says, I'm still standing in my heart. Okay? So my question is, even though as a parent, we can enforce stuff, but are they still standing in their heart?
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, you know, communication is the basis of life.
Wow. Well, you can even see the effects that that's had on your relationship. I mean, how your daughter, you know, felt like she was free to come to your room in the middle of the night and talk.
Yeah, and there's some stuff she's still not safe. I mean, you know, but it's. Have you thought about this, dear?
Yeah.
Can we talk?
Well, I think it's gonna just be such a big, huge thing, I think, for your own family and your own relationship with your kids.
They're learning. And Ben, you know, the thing that just came to mind is, and it's something I'm trying to learn right now. I'm really good at talking. You guys can see I keep interrupting you.
No, it's good.
But, you know, is learning to ask questions to help them come to their own answers. You know, there's this little thing that I used to read pretty regularly, and it said, just for today, I'm allowed someone to have the dignity to make their own mistakes. Sometimes we make mistakes, and hopefully we learn from them.
Yeah.
And raising my kids, there's mistakes they made, and I'm going, But rather than me teaching them, if I could help them to see from their side.
Yeah, that's good. Asking good questions. That's so good. Well, thank you, Robert. I mean, is there anything else you feel like that might be worth mentioning here? I feel like we pretty much covered all the bullets that I was thinking of, but any parting thoughts you might have?
No, I want to encourage men to be men, wives to be wives, not doormats for either one of them.
Yeah.
Build families, and I love what I heard you talk one day, and you talked about drift, and putting your towel down on the beach and going out in the water. Next thing you know, you're a few hundred yards away, and it's easy to do that in families.
Yeah,
I believe that God has a lot more for us than we would ever think about. I know in my life, I've ran this organization for 20 years, way beyond my pay grade, and it's just, I did write a book. I'm going to mention it. What if you took a step?
Yes.
But a lot of the lessons I'm learning, I thought I learned them when I wrote the book, but now I recognize I'm learning them, is a lot of how-tos. And I can't help wondering as I talk to different families and even yourself, Ben, is what has God really got for you? And I'll close with this. There was a time where there was a storm out at sea and Peter walked out. Jesus walked out, and they thought he was a ghost, and Peter said, if it's you, let me walk. Okay, yeah, Peter took a few steps, sunk out. Jesus reached down and pulled him up, and there's always the question, well, how did Peter get back in the boat? I believe that personal opinion, once he put his eyes on Christ, he was able to walk. So once we've recognized our failure and get back with God, then we're able to do. But I always wonder about the other 11 that are in the boat. Why didn't one of them say, hey, that's Peter? And I challenge the dads and the moms out there. Be the parent that God wants you to be. That's all.
So good. Well, thank you so much, Robert. I do want to just quickly, he touched on just at the end there, but make sure if there's anyone listening, Robert's book is called What If You Took a Step, right? What If You Took a Step.
The artwork was done by your wife.
Yeah. Megan did do the cover art, and it's on Amazon, I think, and any other
Amazon
place. Okay, Amazon. Yeah, check it out. It's a really, really good book, and a lot of, pretty much goes way into detail of a lot of things we actually just covered today. But thank you so much, Robert. I'm really thankful.
Thank you.
I'm excited to kind of hear the reports on this episode and hear what some of the takeaways are. But thank you, everyone, for listening. And if there's ever anything you have questions on, please make sure to send them in, and we will see you next time. At Legacymakers, we are igniting a movement of families living on purpose so that every generation should set their hope anew on God. And you choosing to listen to this episode today is only going to further that movement and further the development of the legacy you will leave for generations. So thank you for being a part of that. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a legacy maker, go to www.chooseourlegacy.com, where you're going to find resources and tips and next steps to continue building the legacy that you intend to leave. You can also follow us on all social platforms at Legacy Maker Families. Thank you so much again for listening, and now go love your family.